Hey, chosen ones. Ever feel like your family just doesn't get you? Like your growth makes them uncomfortable, or your light makes them look away? This message isn't for everyone. It's for those called to break cycles, who feel the pull to walk a higher path, even if it means walking alone. Today we're diving into 10 reasons why creating space from family might be the most spiritually loving thing you'll ever do. Stay with me. By the end, you'll see why this space is essential for your growth. Why family can hinder your spiritual journey. Chosen ones, family is often seen as the foundation of life, a place where love, support, and nurturing are expected to always reside. It is the keeper of beautiful memories, warm moments, and deep connections. But listen to an important truth. For those who carry a spiritual mission, family can sometimes become a significant barrier on the path to spiritual growth. I want to emphasize that this is not a call to turn your back on your family or harbor resentment. Instead, it is an invitation to look deeper into energy dynamics, to understand the karmic patterns that have formed across generations, and to recognize the sacred path the universe has destined for you. Sometimes, the very people who love you most, those who know you better than anyone, unintentionally become the greatest obstacles, preventing you from reaching your divine purpose. Imagine yourself as a seed with the potential to grow into a towering ancient tree. Your family, though full of love, can be like a small pot, limiting the space for you to expand. That pot is not bad. It was once the place where you sprouted and grew. But if you want to reach greater heights, you need the vastness of the open earth and sky. Family, with its old patterns, unspoken expectations, and energies that no longer resonate, can keep you confined in that pot without even realizing it. The first reason: family energy dynamics can dim your spiritual light. Hey, chosen ones, let's have a real talk. You know how we just explored how family can sometimes hold you back from your spiritual growth? Well, the first reason why this happens is all about family energy dynamics. Picture your family like a cozy, familiar house. It's built on traditions, unspoken rules, and patterns that have been around for generations. Sounds comforting, right? But here's the thing. As a chosen one, your energy is like a bright, vibrant flame, burning with a higher vibrational frequency. You're wired to grow, to change, to break free from limiting beliefs. And sometimes, that flame can feel out of place in the family house. Your spiritual evolution is powerful. It's like you're opening windows in a stuffy room, letting fresh air in. But families often love keeping things as they are. When you start exploring new ideas, like meditating to find inner peace, or when you set boundaries for spiritual awakening, say, choosing to skip a family event to recharge, your family might push back. Maybe your mom rolls her eyes when you talk about mindfulness, or your sibling teases, "What's with this guru vibe?" They might even get defensive, saying, "Why are you changing? We're fine the way we are." Why do they react like this? It's not because they don't love you. It's because your growth shakes up the family energy system. They feel your energy shifting, and it makes them uneasy, so they try to nudge you back into the old patterns. Think about it. Have you ever felt stuck in a role in your family? Maybe you're always the one smoothing over arguments or taking care of everyone else's needs. These roles aren't just habits. They're like energetic anchors, tying you to the family's expectations instead of your divine mission. As long as you keep playing these parts, it's hard to step fully into your chosen one's purpose. Your family might not be ready to let go of the old ways, but you were born to break generational curses and light a new path. Chosen ones. Recognizing these energy dynamics is your first step to protecting your spiritual energy with techniques like setting boundaries. Stick with me, because next we'll dive into how emotional traps, like guilt or the need for approval, can quietly pull you away from your soul discovery journey and how you can rise above them to keep shining. The second reason: Emotional traps in family ties can dim your spiritual spark. Hey, chosen ones, let's keep this real talk going. We just dug into how family energy dynamics can pull you back from your spiritual growth, like anchors holding you in place. Now, the second reason you might need to create some distance. It's the emotional traps woven into family relationships. Picture this. Your family is like a web of love, memories, and, let's be honest, some heavy expectations. These expectations can feel like invisible chains, and for you, a chosen one chasing your divine mission, they can be downright suffocating. You know what I'm talking about, right? Maybe your parents nudge you to take the safe career path they chose, or your relatives pressure you to stick to traditions that don't vibe with your soul anymore. When you try to set boundaries for a spiritual awakening, like saying no to a family gathering to focus on your meditation practice, things can get messy. Suddenly, you're hit with comments like, "Why are you so selfish?" or "You're turning your back on us." Ouch. Those words sting because they're designed to spark guilt, a sneaky emotional trap that keeps you tangled in the family web. Guilt is like a heavy fog. It's a low vibrational energy that clouds your clarity and stops you from stepping into your higher self. But here's the truth, chosen ones. Those accusations aren't about you. They're about your family's struggle to understand your soul discovery journey. When you prioritize your spiritual evolution, you're not being ungrateful. You're honoring your purpose. Guilt might try to pull you back, but you don't have to stay stuck in it. By recognizing these emotional traps, you can start breaking free from family patterns and protect your energy with tools like clear boundaries. Stick with me, because next, we'll explore how the fear of outgrowing your loved ones can feel like a tug-of-war between your heart and your chosen one's purpose, and how you can navigate it with courage. The third reason, the fear of outgrowing loved ones can weigh you down. Hey, chosen ones, let's sit down for another heart-to-heart. We just talked about how emotional traps like guilt can tangle you up in family expectations, pulling you away from your spiritual growth. Now, the third reason you might need to create some space. It's the tough reality of outgrowing the people you love. I know, that hits hard. As a chosen one, your soul discovery journey is all about evolving into your brightest self. But sometimes, that means leaving behind those who don't get your divine mission, even your family. Here's the deal. Your family might not vibe with your spiritual evolution. Maybe you're diving into practices like yoga, journaling, breathwork, or energy healing to untangle ancestral wounds, and they just don't get it. Their confusion or discomfort can show up as subtle resistance, like side-eye comments when you skip a family dinner to meditate, or sarcastic remarks about your new age stuff. It's not that they don't love you. It's just that your transformation shakes up their comfort zone, their way of seeing the world, and that feels threatening. People often fear what they can't control, and when your light starts to grow, it can expose shadows others aren't ready to face. Picture yourself climbing a mountain, your chosen one's purpose shining at the peak. But you're lugging a backpack stuffed with rocks. Those are the judgments, doubts, expectations, and emotional baggage your family piles on, sometimes without even realizing it. Every step feels heavier because you're carrying more than your own weight. To reach the top, to embody your divine calling, you've got to break free from family patterns and let go of that burden. Letting go doesn't mean cutting ties or stopping the love. It means setting conscious boundaries for spiritual awakening, so their limitations don't hold you back, so you can breathe freely at your own elevation. You're not betraying them. You're honoring your truth. You're not abandoning them. You're choosing alignment. This is the sacred, painful, powerful part of your becoming, and it's okay to grieve it while still rising. Keep going, chosen ones, because next, we'll dive into why boundaries are your secret weapon for protecting your spiritual energy and staying true to your light. The fourth reason, boundaries are your shield for spiritual growth. Let's pause for a sacred moment, chosen ones. After everything we've uncovered about the weight of outgrowing loved ones, it's time we talk about something equally vital, something that often goes overlooked on the path to spiritual freedom: boundaries. Not the kind that builds walls out of bitterness, but the kind that honors your soul. Because here's the truth. Without strong, loving boundaries, your spiritual light gets scattered, drained, or worse, dimmed. As a chosen one, your divine mission needs you to shine bright, to walk with clarity and conviction. But family dynamics, especially when rooted in fear or control, can chip away at that clarity. Maybe it's the aunt who scoffs at your crystal collection, or the sibling who downplays your growth every chance they get. Ever feel drained after those conversations? Or leave family dinners feeling spiritually off-center? That's your intuition signaling. Your energy needs protection. Boundaries aren't about rejection, they're about protection. They say, "I love you, but I love my peace too." For instance, if your cousin constantly critiques your spiritual practices, it's okay to shift the topic or limit those interactions altogether. If attending every family event costs you your balance, give yourself permission to skip, rest, or recharge. This isn't avoidance. It's sacred self-preservation. Think of boundaries as energetic gardening. You're clearing weeds, blocking pests, and making space for your purpose to bloom. You get to decide what gets access to your inner sanctuary. And in doing so, you give yourself the permission to grow, to protect your divine light, and to honor the truth of who you're becoming. So stay with me, chosen ones, because next, we're going even deeper into the hidden cost of staying stuck in family patterns, and how true freedom begins the moment you choose to break free. The fifth reason: staying stuck in family patterns dims your spiritual fire. Let's speak some soul truth here, chosen ones. You've come this far in your awakening journey, not just to survive, but to rise. And yet, even as you set boundaries and claim your light, there's one subtle trap that can quietly extinguish your flame: staying stuck in old family patterns. This isn't just about habits. It's about energies that keep recycling through generations, pulling you back every time you try to evolve. Imagine this. You're always the peacemaker at family gatherings, the fixer when drama erupts, the one who swallows truth just to keep the room calm. You keep saying yes when your soul is screaming no. And slowly, something inside you dims. You begin to feel tired, not just physically, but spiritually disconnected, like you've lost the thread to your deeper purpose. That's what happens when you trade your soul's evolution for familiar dysfunction. That's what stagnation feels like: spinning your wheels in emotional mud, never gaining traction toward your higher calling. Your chosen one's purpose isn't meant to blend in. It's meant to break cycles. But here's the hard part. Breaking free from family patterns often looks like rebellion to those still bound by them. You might be called selfish, too sensitive, or weird. And yet, none of those labels define you. You weren't chosen to be understood. You were chosen to transform. It takes deep spiritual courage to step out of what's expected and walk into the unknown. But that's where your power lives. And every time you say no to an old role and yes to your truth, you reclaim a part of your fire. So breathe into that freedom. You're not stuck. You're awakening. Hang in there, chosen ones. Because next, we'll explore how shifting your perspective can turn family challenges into fuel for your spiritual evolution. The sixth reason: a new perspective unlocks your spiritual freedom. Let's take a breath together, chosen ones, and shift the lens. After walking through the heaviness of being stuck in old family patterns, it's time to talk about something liberating, something that changes everything without changing anyone else: your perspective. This sixth reason you might need distance? It's not about blame. It's about vision. Because when you shift the way you see your family, you set your spirit free. See, family isn't the villain in your story. Most of them gave you something real: love, protection, maybe even the first sense of who you were. But holding on to that version of them without evolving your perception, that's what keeps you small. As a chosen one, you're called to view family not as an obligation to maintain, but as mirrors, messengers, and sometimes initiators on your path of awakening. When your family questions your meditation practice, mocks your energy work, or frowns at your spiritual boundaries, it's not a reflection of your failure. It's a reflection of their filters, their fears, their conditioning. And that's okay. You're not here to fix their lens. You're here to clean your own and keep walking. That clarity, that's freedom. Here's the truth. Compassion doesn't require you to carry anyone's baggage. You can love your family, honor their humanity, and still say no when their energy crosses into your sacred space. That's not cold, it's conscious. And when you hold boundaries with love instead of bitterness, something powerful happens. You step into alignment. You reclaim your time, your peace, your light. You begin to grow, not in defiance of them, but in devotion to your truth. Stick with me, chosen ones, because next we're diving deep into one of the most hidden traps on this path, the need for family approval, and how breaking free from that cycle might just be the breakthrough your soul has been waiting for. The seventh reason: chasing family approval traps your spiritual power. Let's slow it down for a moment, chosen ones, and lean into a hard truth wrapped in a soft desire. You've grown, you've awakened, you've taken steps toward your divine path, but there's something that can quietly pull you off course. The seventh reason you might need space from your family: it's the subtle, often unnoticed trap of seeking their approval. Not out of rebellion, not from pain, but because you long to be seen, accepted, and understood. That longing is deeply human and deeply dangerous to your spiritual power if left unchecked. Think back, maybe way back, to childhood. How often did love feel conditional? You cleaned your room, got the grades, kept quiet, and followed the rules. And in return, you earned smiles, hugs, or proud glances. But when you stepped out of line, asked deeper questions, spoke uncomfortable truths, or showed your difference, suddenly silence or shame entered the room. If you were a highly sensitive soul, those moments likely stayed with you. You might have heard things like, "Don't be so dramatic," or "Why can't you be more like your brother?" And so the seed was planted. Hide who you are to stay safe. Now here you are, walking a path most of your family doesn't understand. Maybe you talk to God in stillness, use affirmations, set intentions, or practice energy healing, and they look at you sideways. You feel that familiar tug, the urge to dim your light just enough so they'll still approve. Maybe you laugh off your practices, skip rituals when they're around, or avoid speaking your truth to keep the peace. But here's the thing. Every time you shrink yourself to be palatable, you trade authenticity for comfort. And that comfort is an illusion. Approval, especially from family, is a moving target. Even when you meet it, it shifts. What you're really chasing isn't their validation. It's a sense of worth that only you can give yourself. And when you realize that, it's a homecoming. You finally understand. Their love is not your compass. Your soul is. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to rise, even if it makes others uncomfortable. So how do you reclaim that power? Return inward. Sit with yourself. Journal without censoring. Meditate not to escape but to remember. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. And when necessary, draw a loving boundary that says, "I choose peace over performance." Keep going, chosen ones. Because coming up next, we'll explore how negative energy from family, no matter how subtle, can drain your light, and how to build spiritual armor that protects your purpose. The eighth reason: negative energy from family can drain your spiritual light. Take a breath, chosen ones, and check in with your energy. Not the kind others see, but the inner pulse, the sacred flame that fuels your intuition, your creativity, your connection to the divine. Because here's the truth. The eighth reason you might need distance from family is one that hides in plain sight: negative energy and emotional drain. And while it may come quietly, its impact can be thunderous on your spiritual path. Have you ever left a conversation with a family member feeling like something inside you dimmed? Maybe it wasn't even what they said, but the tone, the subtle tension, or the heavy silence that lingered afterward. It's like your inner light took a hit. That's not your imagination. That's energy. And as a chosen one, you're wired to pick up on it. Your soul is tuned like a sacred antenna, picking up every frequency in the room. But the catch: that sensitivity, while beautiful, makes you vulnerable to energetic clutter. Sometimes it's overt, like a relative who constantly dumps their stress on you, needing you to solve their drama. Other times it's more passive: snide remarks, backhanded compliments, or family gossip that leaves a fog in your spirit. These may not seem like spiritual attacks, but over time they act like erosion. And you? You begin to feel tired for no reason, spiritually numb, or resistant to the very practices that once brought you joy. That's not failure. It's fatigue from absorbing too much of what doesn't belong to you. What you're experiencing is emotional vampirism. Not because your family is evil, but because many people have never been taught how to manage their emotions, so they hand them off. And guess who's there to carry it? You. The empath, the healer, the one they sense can hold it all. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. So what do? You protect your light. You get intentional about your energy. You limit your exposure to conversations or gatherings that drain you. You create rituals of clearing, like breath work, salt baths, journaling, or simply saying no without guilt. You draw lines not to exile others, but to preserve the sacred within you. Because you were never meant to run on empty while lighting the path for others. Stay with me, chosen ones, because next, we're entering a deeper shadow. How envy and unspoken resentment from family can cloud your path, and how to rise above it without shrinking your light. The ninth reason: envy and resentment can shadow your spiritual shine. Let's drop into the deeper waters now, chosen ones. You've made it through the storms of guilt, approval, and energetic drain. But there's another current that can quietly pull you under: envy and unspoken resentment from those closest to you. The ninth reason you might need distance from family isn't always loud or obvious. It's often wrapped in smiles, in subtle remarks, in that strange chill you feel when you start to rise. But as a light worker, your soul feels every unspoken word and every sideways glance. Think back to a moment when you shared a joy. Maybe you got a new opportunity, healed a deep wound, or started aligning with your true self. And instead of celebration, you were met with silence, sarcasm, or a dismissive joke. Must be nice, they say. Or, not everyone has time for all that spiritual stuff. It stings, not because it's true, but because you know what's really behind it. That's not humor, it's hurt. That's not curiosity, it's comparison. And their discomfort? It's not your fault. It's your growth exposing what they haven't healed. Here's what's real. Your expansion can trigger others' contraction. When you break free from patterns they still feel trapped in, it shines a light on everything they've been avoiding. And instead of facing their wounds, some may turn their unspoken pain outward, toward you. Not with direct attacks, but through tension, distance, or passive-aggressive digs that leave you wondering, did I do something wrong? But no, chosen one, you didn't. You're simply evolving. And evolution, by nature, shakes the ground around you. You were never meant to dull your glow to soothe someone else's discomfort. Your soul didn't incarnate to keep things easy for others. It came to expand, to disrupt dysfunction with love, and to lead by example. So show compassion for their struggle, yes, but don't confuse that compassion with obligation. You're not here to fix their journey. You're here to walk your own. So protect your light. Keep growing. Set boundaries that keep resentment out of your sacred space. You don't need their validation to keep shining. And sometimes, by standing in your truth, you offer them a mirror they can choose to face, if they're ready. Keep rising, chosen ones, because next we'll explore what to do when your family simply doesn't understand your spiritual path and how to walk forward anyway, with strength and grace. The 10th reason, family misunderstanding can dim your spiritual path. Let's take this moment, chosen ones, to talk about something tender, something that cuts deeper than judgment or envy. We've journeyed through the hidden weights that family can place on your soul, but here, in this final truth, lies one of the hardest, being misunderstood by the people you love most. The 10th reason you might need space? It's that ache of realizing your family just doesn't see your path, and maybe never will. Your spiritual awakening isn't loud, it's subtle, sacred, personal. It's not about religion or rebellion. It's about coming home to your divine essence. But that kind of transformation can look confusing, even threatening, to family rooted in old frameworks. They might not understand why you've chosen intuition over instruction, inner peace over performance. They might dismiss your soul work with lines like, "When are you going to get a real job?" Or, "You're too sensitive for your own good." These aren't just comments, they're cuts. Cuts that whisper, "You don't belong here." And yet, you keep trying. You soften your words. You explain your practices. You speak from the heart. But the blank stares, the awkward silence, the passive resistance, it all reminds you, this journey, no matter how beautiful, can feel lonely. It's like living in color while everyone else sees black and white. You want to share your joy, your peace, your discoveries, but the door stays closed. Here's the truth, chosen one. Not everyone is meant to walk beside you, and family, though precious, isn't always equipped to meet you at the frequency you now live in. Their misunderstanding doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're becoming. Your path is not a group project. It's a sacred assignment between you and the divine. So what do? You release the need to be understood. You let go of the hope that they'll get it. And instead, you walk in love and quiet strength. Set gentle boundaries to protect your peace. Like choosing silence over spiritual debates or space over strained connection. Keep your heart open, but your energy guarded. Let your transformation be your testimony. The peace you carry, the joy you radiate, the love you embody. These will speak volumes long after words fall short. You are not alone. You are just ahead. And in time, your light may help illuminate the path for those still learning to see. Stay grounded, chosen ones. Because up next, we're stepping into sacred territory. How breaking generational curses can liberate your lineage and unlock the full power of your divine mission. Breaking generational curses. The sacred fire that starts with you, chosen ones. Breathe in deep, because what comes next isn't just another reason. It's your initiation. We're stepping into the fire now, the part of your journey where you stop explaining, stop negotiating, and start embodying the truth. You were born to break what no longer belongs in your lineage. This is more than personal growth. This is ancestral alchemy. Generational curses aren't fantasy. They're inherited pain, passed down through silence, repetition, and resignation. Patterns of shame, scarcity, addiction, emotional repression, or fear, woven so deeply into the family system that no one even questions them anymore. They just say, "That's how we are." But you feel the friction. You know it doesn't have to be this way. You see the echo in your parents, and the shadow trying to reach through you. And instead of repeating it, you interrupt it. And that interruption? It's holy. But make no mistake, this work will cost you. Some may call you ungrateful. Others may say you're turning your back on your roots. But you're not turning your back. You're turning toward healing. You're holding a torch in a forest your ancestors got lost in. You're naming the pain they were too scared to face. And with every boundary you set, every belief you release, every truth you finally speak, you loosen the grip of generational pain and let the light back in. This isn't a rebellion of ego. It's an act of love. A love so fierce it says, "The cycle ends with me." So take the time to reflect. See the patterns for what they are. Tend to your wounds with sacred care. Say no to dynamics that keep the curse alive, even if that means stepping away for good. Then walk forward, not as a victim of history, but as a liberator of it. Because when you rise, you don't rise alone. You carry your ancestors with you, finally free. And now, chosen ones, we move forward. Because the next step is just as brave. Choosing loyalty to your soul's calling over the expectations of those you love most. Loyalty to your higher calling over family expectations. Lean in, chosen ones, because this is the moment the path narrows and your truth gets louder. After breaking the chains of generational pain, now comes the most sacred vow you'll ever make. To stay loyal to your divine mission, even when it means disappointing the people you love most. This isn't another reason. It's your rite of passage. Family expectations are heavy, not because they're evil, but because they come wrapped in love, fear, tradition, and stories that don't belong to you. Maybe it's a parent who just wants you to be stable, or a sibling who doesn't understand why you've changed. Maybe they pressure you to follow their map, but your soul didn't come here to walk a path that's already been paved. It came to create a new one. And yes, it hurts. There's grief in becoming someone your family never imagined. You may long for their support, their pride, their understanding. But you weren't chosen to be comfortable. You were chosen to be clear. And clarity sometimes looks like saying no to the expected, so you can say yes to what's eternal. This is not betrayal, it's devotion. A radical, loving commitment to your higher self. You honor your family not by shrinking to please them, but by rising in truth and showing what's possible. You show them what it means to follow soul over survival, spirit over tradition, purpose over permission. So set the boundaries. Skip the traditions that suffocate. Say no with grace and yes with fire. And when they question your choices, let your peace answer for you. Because here's what happens when you choose your path. The universe responds. Doors open, energy aligns, the confusion clears, and you begin to feel the sweet weightlessness of spiritual freedom. Stay with me, chosen ones, because next, we arrive at the final blessing. The freedom to grow, evolve, and become who you were born to be. Freedom to grow and evolve. Your soul was made to fly, exhale, chosen ones. Because this is the part where you rise. We've walked through the fire, through guilt, judgment, misunderstanding, resistance, and the weight of lineage. And now we arrive at the reason beneath all reasons, the freedom to become. The 13th and final truth? You need space not just to survive, but to soar, to stretch, to shed who you were taught to be and remember who you truly are. Your soul didn't come here to stay small. It came here to expand, to evolve past limits that were never yours, to chase the horizon of purpose without asking permission. But let's be real. Family dynamics can quietly pull you back into old shapes. They might not say, stay the same, but they expect it, through the roles you're supposed to play, the silence you're expected to keep, the dreams you're told to delay. And that's where the cage closes, subtle but strong. Maybe you were always the strong one, the dependable one, the one who never made waves. But that version of you, It was built for survival, not for flight. And the moment you start listening to your higher self, setting boundaries, exploring your spiritual gifts, saying yes to your calling, the resistance comes. You've changed. You think you're better. But what they call distance is really liberation. Let this be clear. Creating space isn't rejection. It's protection. It's claiming the sacred ground where your soul can stretch and your spirit can breathe. When you step back, you see the patterns more clearly. You stop reacting and start choosing. You stop repeating and start remembering. And that remembering, it leads to freedom. Not just freedom from family dynamics, but freedom into truth, into wholeness, into the kind of growth that ripples outward, changing not just your life, but the entire lineage behind you and ahead of you. So fly, chosen one. Build a life that reflects your light. Take up space. Dream out loud. Dance with the unknown. And if anyone asks why you changed, smile and say, I came home to myself. This is your liberation. This is your legacy. And the world needs all of your light. Keep soaring. You made it to the end, chosen ones. And that means something powerful. You didn't just listen. You remembered. You remembered that your soul was never meant to blend in. You were born to rise, to heal, to break cycles, and to light the way for others still walking in the dark. Now that these truths are in your hands, the question becomes, what will you do with them? Awareness is the beginning, but action is what turns awakening into transformation. It's time to make space for your growth, to say no where you once said yes, to set boundaries without guilt, to stop chasing approval and start choosing you. So pause, reflect. Ask yourself, what patterns am I ready to break? What energy am I ready to reclaim? What version of me have I been hiding just to keep the peace? And when you're ready, step forward. Not for rebellion, but for rebirth. If this message stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Someone out there, another chosen one, might be waiting for the exact words you just heard to set their soul free. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the messages meant for your spirit. Drop a comment below. Tell us what truth hit home for you. We're building something sacred here. A community of awakened souls walking boldly into purpose. Until next time, stay rooted in truth and keep shining.